Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right, this is the crossover special edition. Evan Giddings in for Matt Steinmetz. Joe Spadoni in for Dale the Guru Johnson. And this is Spadoni's first crossover with Willard and Dibs. What's up?
Hi. How's it going? Pre-game show, 5 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Oh my
there we
God.
go. I've been up here.
5 to 6 a.m.?
And you just wake up? I've been here for a while, Dibs.
Dude, I woke up about 7:15, changing diapers, feeding bottles, playing with her new shopping. She has a shopping cart and play food. We took a walk. We took a nap. I changed another diaper. We had breakfast. And you're still on the air through all that.
I am.
Congrats to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
And I'm going to go home and change some diapers.
I was going to say, you have about 5 hours.
We had to call an audible.
Be back here on Monday.
That's right. I called an audible. Miss Olivia, the babysitter, came in the clutch. So she's the real MVP. Shout out Kevin Durant.
Yeah, she is. And Miss Olivia greater than Olivia the Parrot, who we talked about yesterday. Yeah. Olivia the Parrot, who said Shohei Ohtani is going to be a giant.
Not wrong yet. Not wrong yet.
Not wrong yet.
Just like the Corgi last year, right, with the Dubs. The
correct.
Corgi was great.
Yeah, the Corgi was great until the Corgi wasn't. And Olivia the Parrot right now is pacing in her little cage thinking,
You sure it wasn't Olivia the Blue Jay?
I'm pretty sure.
Not bad.
Pretty sure.
No, it was bad. No. It was bad.
Borderline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys got to be so hyped just to be a father listening to you during the break. I mean, good Lord. It seems like every other thing that happens has to do with a child and an issue.
Well, that's life.
Evan, why okay, we have great jobs, but
the best.
These 4 hours are the easiest 4 hours of the day.
It's
by
called a respite.
Far.
No doubt.
By
no doubt.
far. I love it when you look at me and look, oh, you're triggered right now. Never. This is talking to you. Has anyone ever said this to you in your life?
Speak on it.
Talking to you is the easiest thing I do.
Clip that.
It is the easiest thing that happens in a 24-hour cycle, and it's not close.
That's the first human to say that to me in, how old am I?
It's like the Niners playing an NFC East team. It's a blowout. Every single time.
That's awesome.
Every time.
No, and he's right, though,
How you doing
Evan.
today?
I'm doing great.
Good.
In terms of what he's talking about. Like, I was driving home last night, and I got the call about half an hour from home, and you hear in the background, yeah. And, baby girl's pissed, and she's like, when are you going to be home? And I said, 23 minutes. She said, as soon as you walk through the door, this baby's yours. And it's like, okay. And so I walk through the door, and it's like
preemptive strike.
And it totally. And she hands me this crying, red-faced, needing a diaper.
Should have just recalibrated your ways and gone somewhere else.
I said, I got a stall in the Caldecott. This thing's backed up all the way to Broadway. It's a four-car conundrum. Yeah, but anyway, this is the true joy, and we're all lucky to do what we do. And I was having this conversation with Guru a couple days ago. It's like, this job it's amazing. And, life outside of it, it's difficult for everyone for different reasons, but when you have kids, it's even a little bit tougher.
No, I mean, it's been a lot of fun the last 4 hours chilling with Spadoni. I feel like we've hit on a lot of stuff, but of course, the big news of the day is apparently the news is not news yet, which is Shohei Ohtani maybe.
He's flying to Toronto.
We don't know if he's flying to Toronto. How do we know?
It's huge.
You have the coordinates?
No. I
know.
It's not just Morosi. I've heard this in a number of spots that, the plane is now landed in Toronto, but the plane was in San Francisco last week, and it was in L.A. 2 days after that. I know that Morosi has said he's about to decide. And look, yes, he probably is. He probably is going to go to the Blue Jays. He's a weird dude. He picked the Angels the first time. Nobody had the Blue Jays on their bingo card, so I totally believe it. But if I learned any lesson last year, it's not done until it's done. I mean, my God, every single thing the Giants have done or not done has been done and then not done. And so I'm going to wait.
So Toronto's going to find out, oh, my God, you had Tommy John? We didn't know that. Oh, my God, the physical has revealed.
You can't pitch next year? We didn't know.
Yeah, we had no idea. The news doesn't get all the way up here, eh? We don't have the internet here in Toronto.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, like, to me, and kind of what we tried to focus on was just what's going to come next. Because even though, I'm with you, Willard, it's not set in stone. Maybe there's Spadoni put it at 0.1%. I was a little more optimistic and put it close to 5%. But
in terms of what?
In terms of him being a Giant.
Oh.
Like,
is anybody in the room ever predicted that he was going to sign here? They've always been.
Well, but the Giants have been moved up and down And at one point, I don't know if they were ever a favorite, but they were like a co-favorite. I mean, now it looks like they're not in the conversation.
You knew they'd be in the conversation, and they were. And I know that bothers the hell out of people because they're always in the conversation.
Yeah, they're at the table.
But this one, I don't know. This one felt a little bit different for a number of reasons. I've never, and maybe it's even just because of what they went through last year, what they put their fans through in many ways last year. I don't know many people who've been walking around expecting this to happen or even thinking that it was a real good shot. So I'm not surprised.
I'm just waiting for the news that they came in second place because that's where they always wind up.
It would be better if they came in third.
It would be much better if they came in third.
They came in ahead of the Dodgers.
They came in third.
Well, we don't know yet, but I would love for Shohei, through an interpreter, to say, you know what? I was looking at the Giants, and they were my second choice, but ultimately Toronto, the offer was just too good. I want to be Canadian.
I didn't want to go to the West Coast. I didn't want to stay on the West Coast.
By the way, and I don't say this with any sour grapes, though, but really, what a weirdo. And like in a good way. What a complete wacko this guy is. Angels, Blue Jays? What kind of a parlay is that? What a total, awesome whack job to have the Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Dodgers, Giants fawning over you.
In America's pastime.
And you go to the Angels and the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
That happened. What a weirdo.
The greatest free agent of all time goes to Canada. There you go.
What a whack job. And
not since Wayne Gretzky went to L.A. have we seen such a North American switcheroo.
And somewhere, I don't even know, MLB has such a terrible finger on the pulse of how to market itself to begin with. I don't even know if they know what they're missing, but someone in that marketing department is really bummed if Shohei Ohtani picks the Blue Jays. It is unequivocally harder. He's such a crossover star. He's Shohei Ohtani. He's already a star. But it's unequivocally harder to really put your footprint on the nation's sport, if you will, as a Toronto Blue Jay.
I get that, but MLB in terms of marketing is already such a disaster.
Terrible. Yeah.
It's probably the worst North American sports league I can think of. And I get more content from the Professional Ultimate Frisbee League than I do MLB. In terms of video content and retweeted content and all the rest of it. MLS is better. NFL, NBA, it's not close.
And I don't know, maybe it's just an oversaturation of content, and there's no way for them to distinguish what you should and should not be paying attention to. But, I mean, Shohei is the guy. I mean, he's the one that should be, I don't know if they feel comfortable with calling him the face of baseball, but he pretty much is. And for that to go to the Toronto Blue Jays, who I think, they're a really good team. I think he's going to help them a lot.
Yeah,
but
good hitters park.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be awesome there.
By the way,
I don't know how much we're going to be able to see him.
I'm mindful. If you just turn the radio on, he has not signed. This is not done. We're having I just think that our conversation sounds like he's a Blue Jay.
What percentage would you put on it in terms of it being quote unquote done?
I mean, based on what we know, I would argue they're a heavy favorite.
95?
No, less than that.
90?
No.
88?
I don't know.
81?
Yeah.
I'm asking your opinion.
76.7.
Okay.
Huge.
I'd put it higher than that.
Okay, cool.
I mean, in terms of opinion, based on what you've read.
I don't know you can have an opinion on odds.
You have an opinion based on what you've read and based on the sourced reports,
I think it'd be odd to fly to Toronto for reasons other than joining the team. At this, when we also now
it's a winter wonderland up there. It's Christmas time.
It wouldn't be odd if Morosi hadn't said at the beginning of the day this is going to happen within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, so it's imminent.
Now maybe he's wrong because Jim Bowden has clearly said nothing is imminent. But this is what we do, and when Twitter takes over a day like this, is we listen to the soap opera type stuff.
Right.
We don't want to hear it's not imminent. So if someone said it's imminent, then it's imminent, even though someone else said it's not imminent.
Well,
I don't know.
What doesn't sound imminent is a potential move to the Giants' rival, which is the Dodgers, and that was another part we kind of tossed around.
It's a positive.
I mean, well, yeah, it's are you just happy that he's not going to Los Angeles? Because I don't know. I thought that made the most sense. And for a guy that, look, I think he is incredible, but I would also like to see him featured. And even though that's not not ideal, to our producer John's point, it'd be good for baseball. I don't know, but are you just happy that he probably is not going to be a Dodger at this point? Like, does that make you feel any better about him not being on your roster?
No, not at all.
Does to me.
Yeah, it makes Mark feel better, but to me, it's just another L for Farhan Lighty, because the Zaidi starts with an L because he gets L's, and this is an L.
Don't call him a lie. He didn't lie.
No, he didn't lie, but it's whatever.
Actually, he's been overtly honest.
He's been very honest.
Too much so.
I'm not trying to
too much so.
I'm not trying to imply that he.
We suck again.
Yeah, and that's
true.
I mean, so we're on to Yamamoto, and if he doesn't get Yamamoto, then we move on to the next guy, and the next, and the next, and
I told you 2 weeks ago, Yamamoto, and I don't know if they're going to get him, but I would argue that this is one of those things. Remember when they turned around on Correa, and everyone went, I wonder if he really wanted him anyway. It doesn't seem like a Farhan thing to do. Yamamoto is a way more Giants thing to do than Shohei. It's half the price and 5 years younger, with a lot more, how do I say this? Certainly a lot more certainty as far as the pitcher. Like, if you ask me right now, next 5 years of output just as a pitcher, I think Yamamoto's going to crush Ohtani.
As a pitcher.
As a pitcher.
Sure.
Now,
Ohtani's not going to pitch for a year and a half.
Right. I don't know how much he's really going to pitch at a high level ever again or throughout this 10-year deal to take him to his 40.
But you've mentioned this before. Pitchers on 10-year deals, almost every single one in history has been a bad deal.
Scherzer,
by the end.
and not just the 10-year. There aren't
Mike Hampton.
There aren't that many 10-year deals. But yeah, the 7+ year deals, I would argue most of the hitters are bad ones too.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even we only have a small sample now, but the Yankees did not get their bang for the Judge buck last year. They certainly didn't out of Rodon. It's usually a bad deal.
Yeah.
But you can't be risk averse. That's what's weird about baseball. They're usually a bad deal, but you have to do them.
Well, with Farhan, too, he hasn't been able to land a free agent. So, getting an international signing, and Farhan was the guy with the A's that got Cespedes. He was really tightly connected with that one. So, getting an international signing, albeit a guy no one knows, it's just massive because he keeps whiffing in these free agent signings. Can he do something via trade, too? If I'm a fan,
they have to.
They have to at this point, because if you're not a closer and if for whatever reason, or you just whatever this area, the manager, whatever, you have to go out there and make trades.
Excuse me, sorry. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app.
You're so much more polite than Steiny when you do that. But anyway, I don't say they have to for any emotional reason.
Because Steiny's not here.
They have to because they act, and I mean this mathematically. I don't think the Giants feel like they can come back, and they've stated as much. They cannot come back with the outfield they had last year. But they have all of the outfield that they had last year. So that would tell me somebody needs to be traded. You're not going to cut Austin Slater. You're not going to cut Conforto, Haniger, Yaz.
You just signed Yaz.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. So, I do believe that they're so heavily involved in center fielders. There are 3 of them that they've been linked to out there. If they do that, they've got 7 outfielders.
Bellinger, Bader, and who's the third?
The kid from Korea.
Oh, okay.
Jung-Soo Lee.
Yeah, who Larry Kruger's down on.
I bet he is.
Based on the
scouting report?
Yeah, big time scouting report.
Larry was also down on Darko Milicic.
The average fastball in Korea is 87 miles an hour, and so
he has trouble.
He has trouble, and so he's going to get overwhelmed here in the bigs. With the average fastball is 93. Yeah, so
go get Pete Alonso.
He's got pop though.
I like that idea.
Hey, SNY right here. Mets haven't talked extension with Pete Alonso all offseason.
Well, of course they haven't, because they're trying really hard to get Yamamoto also.
What's Lindor doing also? What's he doing?
Yeah, I think that's trademark.
Probably staying.
Oh, hey. Scared money don't make money.
Alonso needs a deal.
Yeah.
Lindor's got one.
It's true.
Yeah.
I do think there's if the Giants are willing to dip their toes into the trade market, I think that's probably their quickest path back to, a bat, an arm, a good starter, and that's where I would love to just see, ideally, them pair a trade or two with a free agent signing. And I think that's a way you can overcome, because, again, we're talking about if the Giants want to make the playoffs, and that should be the goal, then they had to be 5 games better than they were last year. Can you make up a 5-win gap? And I don't think that there isn't an excuse, I think there's no excuses for not being able to make that up in a year's time after you go out and make a move like getting a new manager, extending your general manager. Why should they not have the necessary pieces to make up that gap?
Yeah, I think your eyes are set too low. They need to be way more than 5 games better next year.
They need to be a playoff team.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 5 games.
Well, 84 wins got you in this last year?
Correct.
Yeah, but
barely above mediocre.
But
gets
that's like scraping in.
But the D-backs,
the D-backs just scraped their way.
I understand that. I understand that. But the Giants, we should hold them to a higher standard than be an 84-win team. They need to be a lot
Is
better.
Mike Tomlin the standard is the standard with the Giants?
They don't want to be 9-8.
I mean, the standard for them, though, has just been not good. Or not good enough. You had the season a couple of years ago. That's been pretty much the high water mark, and we're just trying to get back to that point. Can they do that?
Well, I mean, you're going to see a new philosophy this time around, which I think is one thing that people want to see. It needs to be paired with actual name value. But yeah, I think the two are linked. I think that they're going to go out and sign and or trade for people that can better fit a philosophy that sticks with we want our pitchers to throw 6 or 7 innings. And that's why you are going to see a new starter. I don't know if it'll be Yamamoto, but they're going to address the top of the rotation. If they don't get him, maybe they do pay Snell. I don't know. Something like that. Jordan Montgomery. They're going to address the rotation. They're going to address the defense. And probably sign a couple of guys that they plan to play 150 games. So, yeah, there's no, I don't know who they're going to get, but I've said this a few times, the Giants don't have a choice. I don't even know if they're going to unlock the doors of the spring training facility if they don't have some names to show up. Fans are going to block the entrance. You can't do it again. They've got no choice.
I don't know if the fans will block the entrance. I think they just
won't
watch. They just won't show up. There's just going to be a ghost town, and that's the frightful reality is if you don't do anything or you don't do something that moves you in the positive direction. Right. I mean, we saw attendance dip this year in a fashion that is just unheard of in recent memory, and is not going to get any better. It's going to go in the wrong direction if something's not done.
When you don't have name players that people, the casuals as we like to call them, the casual fans that they want to actually come out and see. And I don't know if Yamamoto is a guy who's going to draw the casual fans out, but if he goes out and pitches great and he becomes a thing early in the year, you'll get fans out. And this town is a little bit more bandwagon than some other towns in the country in terms of if you have a winner, fans will come out. And we saw that from the A's when they were good in the early teens in 2014, 15, 16. Mm-hmm. They drew really well because the team was good. Even though the ballpark was the same and the ownership was largely the same, when the team was good, fans would come out in bigger droves, and it's the same thing with the Giants, I think.
I think we also see it a little bit with the Warriors. I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to check out Chase Center, during the Portland game. But
yeah, we talked to Steve Kerr about it yesterday.
Yeah, there's not the stadium.
Fans weren't coming for Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons.
That was a bit of a weird one because it was an unscheduled game.
True.
And so, even if you had season tickets, maybe you weren't prepared to go 8 days in advance. So I think that's a little bit of an unfair test. And, we'll have to see with future home games if that continues to be a thing, if they continue to be mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just points to how expensive a sporting event is. And so you have to make your choice of whether you're going to spend to go see a team that, I don't know if it's just about winning. I think entertainment certainly factors into it. But the Giants have, they have the Acropolis. They got the best, if not one of the best ballparks in baseball. So it's not like the people aren't choosing to not go because it's the Coliseum or it's crumbling or it's an old place or it's not fun to be at and watch a game. That is one of the most beautiful places in the country, and you got to have a ball club that's commensurate with it, and they don't currently.
Yeah. I mean, they'll have to. The season will have to, unless they were going to sign Ohtani, which I've always thought very much less than likely. But the season is going to have to lead to the attendance. Ohtani's the only one, and there are very few of these guys out there. Judge was one last year, but Correa wasn't. That was not a guy where you're like, oh my God, season tickets now. So they're going to have to go win baseball games. People will show up. People get over it.
People will come, right?
Yeah, if they start winning baseball games, you guys know this. Everybody has got pitchforks out in 2 seconds, and then they forgive 2 seconds later based on what you did last night. What if the Warriors win tonight? We're back to 500. All right.
They're back.
Right.
Let's go.
Huge.
Starting lineup look good.
Exactly.
Legacy game tonight, Spadoni?
This might be a legacy game tonight. The Thunder, they're so fun to watch, man. Juxtaposing what we see with the Warriors, That was such an unsatisfying win against a bad Blazers team. Did you guys feel good about that
It's
win?
funny you say that because Mark actually was throwing this out in his opening statement about, like, that's probably the worst you felt in a win this year. And, you watched that game as a Warrior fan and they won, but you went to bed mad, even though they won a game.
Yeah.
And it's because of a number of different things and why you slow playing Kuminga. How come you have to struggle to beat Portland? What's wrong with Clay? Wiggins back to being somnambulant and all the rest of it.
I mean, by the time we had gotten through our opening comments, we had an entire board of calls lit, ready to go, and every single one of them wanted to talk about Steve Kerr.
And he gave out the wrong phone number,
That's
too.
true, too. That's true. 888-956 the game.
Very hard to very hard to remember.
It was wild. I don't know why it happened, but anyway. Everybody was mad at Steve Kerr. And how often do you get that after a win? In any sport. You don't usually.
We used to get those.
You don't get a mob after a win.
Well, that was like at the high water mark of like the KD era. I wasn't satisfied. We didn't blow out the Bucks by enough. What the hell's going on with these rotations? This is just bad.
Well,
there's one thing of critiquing wins, but this is just a bad win against a bad team.
He also said Shohei was going to be a Giant, so.
Man.
Sorry.
He did.
That was reverse devil.
Put the wham.
No,
he's a Dodgers fan.
Psychology.
It was elite pandering is what it was.
It was pandering, and
He said he wasn't pandering to.
No, but it was also a shot across the bow. Like he's sitting there going, "I'd like a rivalry, so hey, Giants, could you get a good player since we already have so many? And maybe it would be a rivalry." It was both pandering and a complete shot between the eyes at the same time.
He's won four
I hated every minute of it.
4 championships, so you don't have to pander to anyone, but I love Steve Kerr saying,
He's a Dodger fan.
I got to ingratiate it. Thank you, Goo.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I mean, well, and of course also, Spadone's strong take of the day, which I appreciate, is that
Steph needs to be more selfish.
There you go.
I don't think that's a strong opinion. This guy he's 35 years old, and the team around him is getting older, and they're not getting much better, but he is.
What does that look like?
What does that mean more selfish? You know what?
Do you mean in games or like
Michael Jordan?
In terms of roster? What do you mean?
In terms of roster and being like, hey, you know what? Like, I know Draymond's your guy, and Draymond's been fine. And my argument wasn't really towards Draymond because when he's been on the court, he's been pretty good this year. Clay, I know you love him, Steph. I'm kind of out on.
What do you get for Clay?
He's in a very unique situation because I compared it to Jordan was cutthroat, Kobe was cutthroat, LeBron. We all know he's cutthroat. Those guys never came into the league with Draymond, with Clay, with teammates. They lasted forever. Jordan and Pippen didn't come into league together. And they still had they weren't tight like Clay and Steph were. I get it. Kobe and Shaq, it's obviously LeBron and D-Wade, that ran its course.
Jordan's son is dating Pippen's
I was going to say that's kind of the root of the problem.
I wish I didn't know that, but
pretty unbelievable.
I mean, I got Bravo on favorites in my house.
Real Housewives talk. There you go.
Just don't even get me started. I go deep in all the institutions.
Do tell. I don't even know this.
Love is not blind.
Larsa Pippen, Scotty's ex, is dating Marcus Jordan.
I think I did.
Michael's son.
Okay.
Will Michael be at the wedding? 888-957-957.
Don't put out that on the phone line.
It's going to be a no.
Thank God the lines are blocked.
Oh, yeah. Apparently they're getting married. They're engaged.
Yeah. No doubt.
Well, it's his 7th ring.
Bob Nightingale.
Yeah.
Huge.
1 minute ago.
Uh-oh. Is it breaking?
Oh, boy.
Giants still in on Shohei Ohtani?
He's a Dodger.
Want me to read it to you?
No, I want you to continue to slow play it.
Well, do you want me to set up the open so you can...
No,
it's not. You're not Steiny, and it's 2:12, and you're not going anywhere.
No, I need to get
It's
somewhere.
not the
you got
final.
nowhere to be.
It's not the final thing, but
Thirsty?
you're gonna find this
thirsty?
interesting.
Always.
Go ahead.
You're gonna find this really interesting.
Yeah.
Spadoni's been here since 4.
Texting the wife right now. I'm coming home soon. I'm not even kidding you.
Jay,
take a nap soon. I need a nap.
Just pass out, and if the kids break the house down, it's Joe's fault. Just go to bed. All right, 3 sentences.
Oh, boy.
Shohei Ohtani is not in Toronto.
Wait, what? What, the Nightingale?
Ohtani is not on a flight to Toronto. Ohtani
Spadoni.
is at home in Southern California.
Where in the world?
And
Thank you, Carmen.
And I don't know if
San Diego.
this is true either.
Going back to the Angels?
I don't know if this is true either. I just hovered to make sure this is the real Bob Nightingale, and it is.
Okay.
Okay. I don't
Not
know if this is
Nightingale.
true
We got
either.
got by passing her.
Bob Nightingale is in the bushes outside Shohei Ohtani's house.
That'd be a great comment below. That'd be great. I am naked in his backyard.
I am peering over his fence.
I like. How many times in a row do we all need to get got by the internet before we breathe when this stuff happens?
719.
Like this started
And counting.
with a guy by the
Exactly.
name of J.P. Hornstra.
Who the hell is that?
J.P.
You're making up names.
that is a reporter in L.A.
Paul Horning.
Is he a high-level reporter? I don't want to go through his resume, but he now works essentially for a blog site. I end each show with shoot your shot, it's all you got. I would argue that if
You got that from J.P. Hornstra?
No, but if I worked for a blog site, and let's say, for instance, this is just an example. Let's say I did have a Dodger source that told me, yeah, we didn't get him. And you know that every other big-time baseball reporter out there for the last 48 hours has been like, Dodgers, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Blue Jays. So he goes, he's a Blue Jay. Let me take my shot and see if we can get a ton of attention for our website. Could it have gone that way? Maybe. But that's where this started. Then people started tracking private jets from Anaheim to Toronto. Some people found some that went from Anaheim to San Francisco today. It sounds like Shohei wasn't on any of these. And we did this last year from Arson Judge to Carlos Correa to all of the famous things through the years that we can think of right now that have been reported and then rescinded. Like, if the second Hornstra does that, what does Passan, Rosenthal, Nightingale, Bowden, what do they all do? They call everyone, and no one could confirm anything.
Nor deny. No, I'm just.
And by the way, Buster Olney, the mystery around this is actually beautiful. I love how quiet this is. People are freaking out, grasping at all kinds of straws. I don't know where this is going to go next.
Well, it's kind of the irony. It
But
hasn't been quiet at all.
I
today.
don't believe anything.
So
right
J.P. Morosi says Shohei Ohtani is en route
now. In Toronto.
to Toronto, and he's in Toronto. And Bob Nightingale says
Not in Toronto.
he's in Los Angeles. So one of
Lucas,
those two is wrong.
Get them both on at the same time and let them fight.
Well,
Neither one's busy.
yeah, maybe you guys can get them on coming up. But we're looking forward to listening. I'm sure it's going to be a great show. And we appreciate you indoctrinating Spadoni into the crossover.
Spadoni, don't go. You got nothing
I'm
to go
about to
home
pass
to,
out.
bro.
Come on,
Joey
Spadoni.
Tai.
Joey Tai.
Come on, Spadoni.
Great job, Spadoni.
Yes, no, seriously. Thank you, Spadoni. Steiny will be back on Monday. Coming up next, 95.7 The Game, Willard and Dibs.